that he was an alcoholic and stuff. That was very interesting. I don't think that's going to happen tonight, but we'll see. I guess you never know. But yeah, we're gonna get into all the TV show stuff. We'll talk about why the Last of Us became super woke, and maybe have some recommendations of shows to watch during the summer. So yeah, before we begin and intro our co-host for tonight, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. As always, I'm wearing something from the merch store. It is Cole's Body, Cole's Choice. Yes, that is the shirt I was wearing yesterday on the show. The shirt is so nice, I had to wear it twice. You can get it here at the merch store. Unfortunately, there's no 20% off sale, which we had yesterday. It just disappeared. I am not in charge of that, so don't yell at me. But I always say that you should just probably wait until there's a sale. There's always going to be a sale. So wait until there's like a 20, 15, 25% off sale. Usually on like Black Friday, we'll get like 30%. But usually like in the summer, we'll have like 20% off sales once in a while. So I would wait. But if you guys really want to help support the show, you can get one of these many shirts. We have an apron. We have some mugs. You can change the colors on the shirt and customize it like however you want. You can go to Amazon, buy my books. I have 3 books. The most recent one is Jerks of College Years, where I made fun of people I saw at Penn State. I was there for 6 years, and I had a lot of writing material. I'm sure you guys will enjoy reading it. I had a blast writing it. Also, please consider super chats, super stickers. It's the best way to support the show. This past week, we had John Sanders, Slew, and Degenerate on helping us out a lot. Before that, we had Can't Make It Eagle. We had Armac, the boss, Karmic, and others. So just really appreciate you guys. Oh, and Evan Daniel, I forgot about him. He contributed as well. Our usual Tuesday co-host on the show. He contributed during the draft. So thank you, Evan. But yeah, we're joined once again by the Omnipheral. I believe the last time you're on the show was like February, I want to say. We were talking about politics. Donald Trump just came into office, and I think it was like the 1 month mark, and we were talking about what he's done so far. And before that, you were on the election night show. We had like a 4-hour show, which is it was crazy. But yeah, Omnipheral, how are you? How's it going?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I can't promise my wife won't. There's always a chance. There's always a chance she'll come in and yell at me. She won't call me an alcoholic, but it'll be something equally as bad, I'm sure.
That was probably the most insane segment of the show we've ever had. It was we were talking about win totals on Tuesday. We're just humming along. I had 2 co-hosts on, and suddenly I hear a woman's voice yelling, and she's like, "Get off the show! We have to leave in 4 hours." They had a flight planned for Aruba at like 4:30 in the morning. And he's like, "I'm not going to sleep." I was like, "What's the problem here?" And she's like, "You're an alcoholic." It was absolutely crazy. On Tuesay's show, it was like the 35-minute mark of the show. It was insanity. I was cracking up so hard.
It sounds like
random. Yeah.
It sounds like they'll have a fun vacation.
I'm sure. I hope he made it there alive, because the last thing he said, he's like, "Oh no, she has a knife," which I don't know if he's
really.
Yeah, he was even joking. It's like, this is gonna be a John Bobbitt, Lorena Bobbitt situation, and then he's like, "Oh no, she has a knife." I'm like, is he serious? I don't know. I hope he made it there in one piece, but well, I guess we'll find out, because he's due to be on the show next week. But all right, I figured we talk about TV shows. Like I said, it's the summer. There's nothing going on in football. Next week we have the schedule coming out, but like this week there's really nothing going on outside of the one trade that happened. And I figured that just get to the big news in TV, which is the Last of Us. Everyone's seen the clip by now. If you've been living under a rock, on Twitter, it's been going on around. The little girl, I don't know if she's little. She's like, what, 16 years old or something. On the show, I should probably look up how old she is exactly.
In real life or on the show?
In real life, wow, she's 21. I thought she was 16.
You're talking about Bella Ramsey?
Bella Ramsey, yeah. She's 21 years old. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I think. She looks young, but I figured she has to be probably around that. I think she's supposed to be like 19 in the show. I think.
Really?
Which is not really. Yeah, it's not super believable.
No.
Because she didn't really age since the first season. But yeah, go ahead.
She didn't age since Game of Thrones, when she she stood up for Jon Snow in that one scene where she said, "The blood of Jon Snow runs through his veins." The blood of Ned Stark runs through his veins. I don't care if he's a bastard. And she stood up for Jon Snow. and he became King of the North in that one great scene. I feel like that one scene is the reason why she got this role. And I don't know. Good.
I mean, she's good. I don't have anything against her. She's not right for the show at all.
Yeah.
Completely miscast.
I haven't played the game, so maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, the first Last of Us game is probably my favorite game of all time. It just had the best story. I love not Rockstar. I always get it mixed up with Rockstar Games, which is my other favorite company that makes games. It's Naughty Dog. I love all Naughty Dog games, which is like Uncharted, and like they all have the same style, where it's basically like shooting. They always have like good stories, and sometimes they have like puzzles or like things you have to figure out. I love like puzzle games and stuff like that.
Right.
And I don't know, just something about the gameplay is always like my favorite. And The Last of Us had the best story ever. And The Last of Us 1, the first game, part 1. And then part 2, I still love playing the game, but the story was definitely not as good and it got super woke. Yeah, and I remember there's like a whole controversy around Joel getting killed. Spoiler alert.
I don't know who that is, so you didn't really.
Oh, you don't know who that is? You watched the show, right?
No, okay. So I watched the first 2 episodes of the show, and Patrick commenting here. I really enjoyed season 1 of Last of Us, but haven't seen the season yet. Not holding my breath. The first game is amazing. Top 15 video game for sure. Okay, so I actually have a video game. I haven't played it just because like I've had so many other games. I don't really have much time to play. Like I played. It took me like 2 years to beat. The Legend of Zelda, the second one, the one after Breath of the Wild. I can't remember what it was, but it took me 2 years to beat that game. That's how like little playing time I have. And like right now, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I was joking with you. I was like, it took me like 3 weeks to beat the chapter 2 in the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I just got to chapter 5, so I'm moving along at like a glacially pace there. But like, so I have the game. I never played it just because I want to play it. I just have like other options. I never got to it. But as far as the show is concerned, I watched the first 2 episodes, and I thought the first half of the first episode was great. The whole, like the beginning of the whole I don't know if they're called zombies, but the whole beginning of the zombies, they find out what's happening. There's the infection happens, and there's mayhem and stuff like that. I thought it was terrific. And then I thought the next episode and a half were awful, and it did everything that I hated about The Walking Dead, which is like there's always like why does this always happen in these movies or shows like The Walking Dead or The Last of Us, where like there's a post-apocalyptic zombie world, and like there are no normal humans. Like these humans like join these groups. They're called like the butterflies or like the one-legged zebras or something stupid, and they always like have these things like. The one-legged zebras paint their faces like in striped patterns for some reason, or in like The Walking Dead, like there's the whisperers. They whisper like they wear the skin over their faces and they whisper, or like the people at the at Terminus, they're cannibals. Like there's no normal humans. It feels like, and that's what The Last of Us devolved into like from the start. They didn't even have like 2 normal seasons like The Walking Dead did. They just devolved into like all this like group fighting, and it felt like the creatures, zombies, whatever they are, it felt like they were just a slight inconvenience to like the overall plot. And so I just thought it was ridiculous, and I just stopped. Both my wife and I just stopped after the second episode. We're like, this is crap. So I stopped watching after the second episode. Does it get better? Because I thought it was just awful.
I mean, the show has been really hard for me to get into because I played the games. So it's like kind of like I'm watching it, and I enjoy it somewhat, but like I'm not super into it because I already know the plot. And even worse than when you read a book before you see like a movie or something, you know what I mean? How that kind of like makes it weird to watch the movie. Mm-hmm. It's even worse because the games actually are visual. So it's like I already know what they're supposed to look like. So that makes it even less compelling, the show. Does that make sense? Like it makes it even harder to get into. So it's
sometimes I don't know. Like I can get into shows or movies if they're based on books, but it's frustrating when they deviate poorly. Like if they deviate in a good way, it's fine. Like it's like I always said this about Game of Thrones, where I thought the first 4 seasons were amazing, even though they deviated from the book a little bit. They had these scenes between Varys and Littlefinger that they never had in the book, and like they kind of like guess that they happen in the background, but they never had them in the book because each chapter is a point of view from a character, and you can't have the point of view of Varys or Littlefinger because they know too much. So you just never had these scenes between the two, and they were brilliant in the show. It's just like I always thought of it as like a great compliment to the book. But then it got a lot worse. They omitted, the Lady Stoneheart, for example. Like if you never read the book, I don't want to spoil it. Like Lady Stoneheart was one of the coolest characters in the book series, the Game of Thrones. They just never included her. And I always gave this example with Bainoff and Weiss for years, like 3 or 4 years. They talked about, they're like, oh, we have something cool planned. We have something really cool planned. And I was like, okay, they're going to reintroduce Lady Stoneheart a little bit late, but better late than never. And the cool thing that they had in mind was a zombie polar bear. And I was like, okay, you guys are terrible.
Well, they're the worst, Benioff and Weiss, but whatever.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying, but I think if it's done well, I can really get into it like Game of Thrones.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it's even worse than books because, well, first of all, the show is very similar to the game. It's like almost exactly the same except for like a bunch of deviations, but like the essential plot, and there's even like parts that are like shot for shot from the game. Mm-hmm. Because Neil Druckmann, the creator of the game, is also the creator of the show. Along with Craig Mazin, who made Chernobyl, which is one of the best shows ever. I love that show. If you ever never saw it, you should watch Chernobyl. It's awesome.
My wife liked it. She liked it.
Your wife liked it?
Yeah.
It really is awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. And he was a great pick for this show because Chernobyl like does have a good tone that like matches Last of Us. But anyway, it's even worse than that because it's so close to the game. Almost like, I imagine like I want to see How to Train Your Dragon, but I love the cartoon and I already saw it. So I already have the visuals in my head. It's not like a book where you imagine it and then it's like cool to see it brought to life when you're watching a movie. You know what I mean? It's like I actually already know the visuals. So like if they make the movie that's like exactly the same as the original movie that was animated, I'll kind of be like, meh. Even if they deviate a little bit, it's not going to be as compelling as if I was watching it for the first time. So it's like hard for me to get into the show because I'm not watching it with like fresh eyes. I already know what's going to happen, and I already have an image in my head from the game of what they're supposed to look like, and like they don't look like that or act like it really. So it's tough for me to get super into. So it's not like it's a show that I watch every week, but I'm not like super into it.
Okay.
Forget my point was. So yeah, you were talking about how there's all these different like groups of people, and I agree that is kind of a trope with like zombie and apocalypse movies and shows.
We have the comment here on the screen. The one group was in the junkyard, and they lived like junk people. Yeah, that's the Walking Dead. This is so stupid.
I mean, that is kind of a trope. I mean, I do think it's done well in the games, and the second season there are normal people, sort of like the second season. There's like a town that is basically normal people. Like they're not in any kind of cult or anything. They actually live in like a commune, and they actually make a comment about how it's communist, which was kind of leftist, wokist stuff in the show. They talk about how they live in like a communist society. But regardless, they're like supposed to be like the normal-ish people. I mean, I do think that if there was an apocalypse, there would be like weird groups and things that happen because people would have to cope. But I don't know if it would be like as like tropish as like like some weird cult is like one group of people and other people like just paint their faces weird, or like it's like kind of sort of like Mad Max. It's like Mad Max style. Mm-hmm. If you ever watched those movies.
Yeah,
anyway,
I do think there would be some cult-like behavior, but there wouldn't be junkyard people who are just like living like that because they live in a junkyard. Like it's
not. I mean, Last of Us isn't so bad with that. There is like one cult in it. There is like a cult, and then the other people are just kind of either like shitty groups of people that are like like criminals, kind of like raiders. And then there's like people that are kind of like the new like military-ish. They took over from like the military that was like supposed to be taken over like in a fascist way. And then this group of the Fireflies like fought against the military. And then there would be like groups like that. But so it's not as bad as like other things where like people just are kind of like Mad Maxy, where like they weird outfits and are in some kind of like cult for no reason. Right. The second season is better with that, but yeah, I mean, it's not. Bella Ramsey is poorly cast. She just doesn't fit the role. She looks too young. She is weird looking, unfortunately. I hate to say it, but like, she is weird looking, which is distraction a little bit. And she's not tough. And like the main character, Ellie, is supposed to be tough. Like she's supposed to be like ruthless killer, like tough, can like, even though it's even kind of unbelievable in the game. Like, she can like pretty much like kill anybody and anything. And Bella Ramsey does not pull that off. And you didn't even see the second season, so it's hard for me to even tell you.
I didn't even see the third episode, so
yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know.
So, I don't know. So like basically, good.
No, is Ellie the girl? Is Ellie the girl who's the supposed mother to the father of the Bella Ramsey? Is that the girl? No,
Bella Ramsey. Bella Ramsey's Ellie, the main character.
Oh, okay. So see, this is how little I know about the show. Yeah. So okay. So she's supposed to be super tough. Okay, I get it. Which is like the one picture circulating online where she's firing like a machine gun or something and like looking like super tough. I quote tweeted and like I said Dad of the Year for that picture. But like you said the show or the video game, the second one was woke. So you want to explain how that was woke?
Well, Neil Druckmann is like kind of a leftist idiot. The creator of the game, and the second game started to, it's like she's a lesbian, and then she gets into this like relationship with this girl who's like bisexual, who's like not even a likable character. Dina is her name in the game and in the show. And she's not really a likable character. She's like kind of promiscuous and like weird and flighty. And I don't know if you want to like give anything away. But
well, look. I mean, anyone who's watching, there could be spoilers here. So I'm not going to be spoiled because I'm not going to watch this. But you can go ahead.
I mean, the woke stuff in the game was like, like I was kind of like, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? It was like annoying. It's just like basically like the lesbian relationship, which it felt thrown in. Like I don't mind her being a lesbian, but like I don't know, the whole thing kind of and everyone who's tough in the game. In the second one, you play as like two girls who are like. I mean, even Ellie is like tougher than she really could be in reality. And then there's this other girl in the game who you play as named Abby, who's like super muscular and like also overly tough. And I don't know, it starts to be like a little girl bossy.
All these tough girls, and that's
it's all tough women. And then, but the big controversy in the second game, which is actually something we should talk about, which is funny. So there was this huge controversy when the second game came out. I guess they advertised that Joel, who is the other main character in the show, that's oh my god, what's that dude's name? Pedro Pascal.
Pascal, yeah.
Yeah, he plays Joel, and that's like Ellie's like kind of father, like whatever, mentor father. He gets killed at the beginning of the game by Abby, who's a character who you don't even know who she is. Like at that point, you don't even know what her motivation is. So everybody who bought the second game was expecting it to be about Abby and Joel and Ellie, because their relationship is like the most compelling part of the game, and that's like what everybody loves is like their bond, and how like he lost his daughter and like she's like his daughter, and like that whole aspect of it is like everybody's favorite part of the game, and they advertised it. I think they even showed clips from the game that like weren't real that showed Joel in parts that he wasn't in, and then like kind of was like a bait and switch. So when people got the game, like he gets killed at the beginning of the game. So that was a huge controversy. And I think at the time, all the critics, as they always do, gave fans shit about it and said that they were review bombing and that they don't know what they're talking about. And like, these toxic fans are review bombing. And I think people were like so mad about it that they were even like threatening, like sending death threats to the girl who did the voice of Abby, who like killed Joel in the game.
Wow.
So the funny part is, like, after all that, where they blame the fans, which is always what happens with every show now, where like, some woke show or some show that's just not written well, but like, the left-wing media has to like label fans as toxic and blame them and say that it's review bombing when it's just, I hate when the review bombing thing pisses me off more than anything, when they say that people are review bombing and they can't just be like, yeah, maybe this game sucks or the show sucks. Like it has to be review bombing when they don't agree with it. So anyway, it was all this controversy at the time. And the funny part is now people who are watching the show who never played the game, just like normal people, like normies, who are watching the show are super pissed because Joel gets killed the same way as it happened in the game. Like right off the bat, like second episode, he gets killed by Abby. And so people are equally pissed. And now they're doing the same thing with like people are review bombing and it's the best. And so it proves the point that like, yeah, they messed up and they shouldn't have done that. And the stupid guy, Neil Druckmann, shouldn't have done it again in the show, but he's so arrogant that he had to do it again in the show and follow the exact same plot that didn't work. And they kill Joel, and like even my sister called me, who never plays video games ever. She's like 50 something.
Yeah.
She called me and was like, "They killed Joel. I'm not going to watch it anymore. Like, what's even the point of watching it?" And I was like, "Exactly right, exactly." And like, oh, and I think that even the girl who plays, this is obviously not cool, but I think even the girl who plays Abby in the show is getting death threats now because she killed Joel in the show. So it just shows you that, like, yeah, don't blame the fans. Like, learn from your mistakes and don't be arrogant. And obviously, that was a problem in your game, and don't repeat it. So I think the viewership actually dropped off significantly after he got killed in the second episode. And
so
now people are, yeah, go ahead.
So what episode is it that she claims to be a father?
Third episode, I believe. I think third.
Wow, it's a banger of 2 episodes there.
I think it's either third or fourth, but I'm pretty sure it's third. I think it's third.
Okay, so they kill off the one of the beloved characters in episode 2, and then they turn the girl into a dad in episode 3.
Yeah, that didn't happen in the game, and yeah, the show is becoming like even more woke, and like they're not as tough as they should be, and there's a lot of things that they're like there's certain things that they're changing that like aren't good. Like pretty much everybody that's supposed to be like tough and like cool and fun to watch in the game is like not tough, like Ellie, and I think Joel's brother, I always forget his name, Tommy. They haven't really shown him do anything cool yet, where he's supposed to be like, you know, like a really good sniper. And I think he wants revenge because Joel gets killed, and he goes out to get revenge. Even before, you don't know the plot, but Ellie and Dina, basically after Joel gets killed, Dina's Ellie's girlfriend. Yeah. They go out to try to get revenge against Abby and her crew for killing Joel. And in the game, I think Tommy, Joel's brother, goes out before they leave to get revenge before them. And then that's like part of the reason, the impetus that they leave the town to also go get revenge and find Tommy. But that doesn't happen in the show. Okay. So they're making everybody who's supposed to be tough not tough. Also, people are miscast. Bella Ramsey is obviously the worst example. The girl who plays Dean is fine, whatever. And then the part where she says, "I'm going to be a father," was not in the game. In the game, so what happens is Dina, they leave to go get revenge for Joel, and her and Dina, Ellie and Dina, okay. They go to Seattle to find this group. And once they get to Seattle, I think they like take refuge in an abandoned movie theater. Mm-hmm. And that's when Dina, her kind of girlfriend, although that's very rushed in the show, where they're like girlfriend, like she's calling herself a dad of the kid, like they barely even hung out. But Dina tells her that she's pregnant. She got pregnant from this dude Jesse, who lives in the town, who I guess Dina was just kind of like whoring around with.
Yeah, it's not like a very nice girlfriend to just be like, "Hey."
No, it's very weird. She's like very like flighty and like kind of like messing with this guy Jesse and like off and on with him. And I don't know. It's like she's not a super likable character. And she's pregnant and tells Ellie, I think right before they even hook up for the first time. And Ellie's like, "I'm going to be a dad." And you're like, "What?" In the show, you're like, "Really? Like, what?" I forgot that wasn't in the game. So I was kind of like, yeah, the game's woke and whatever. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's not in the game. Like in the game, Ellie gets super pissed because she's like, "Why would you come with me if you're pregnant? Like now you're a liability and you're going to like hold me back from getting revenge," which is actually a normal reaction.
Right.
And in the show, she's like, "I'm going to be a dad." And basically like forgetting, totally bypassing that Jesse is the father. She's like, "Oh, I think in the show she says something like, 'I'm going to be a dad.' And oh yeah, I guess Jesse's involved too," or something like. That's the kind of woke nonsense that like they're basically like just forgetting that Jesse's the biological father and like talking about how Ellie's the dad. And I don't know, it's shitty. Like it makes them both kind of shitty in the show, like not likable. And obviously her saying that was also super weird and people are turned off by it and we're like, forget the show. And that on the heels of Joel getting killed in the second episode, I'm sure people are going to be like, forget this, I'm done.
So isn't that offensive to lesbians? Because Ellie is supposed to be lesbian, right? So
I guess, yeah. I don't know how she identifies, I guess, technically. Like,
right. So like how is she saying she's a dad that makes she's a pretend woman, a pretend man. And
I don't think she's supposed to be I don't think she's supposed to be trans.
Yeah. Well, there's no such thing as trans. But
whatever. Yeah, I don't think she identifies as trans.
Right. Yeah. So she's
a pretend man.
But she's a pretend man, but she's a lesbian at the same time, which is lesbian's a woman who likes other women. So I feel like that's got to be. If I'm a lesbian watching the show I'm like, hey, I got a role model to look after, at least albeit on TV. And like suddenly she claims to be a dad. I'm like, wait a second, now I don't have a role model. Seems like lesbians should be angry about this, no?
I don't know. I mean, they have enough there's enough lesbians in TV now that you can find enough role models.
That's true.
I mean, they force interracial lesbian couples in every show. Although I think that's kind of dying down these days a little bit. I think they're kind of getting rid of that a little bit. But there was a point.
The same thing before this, though. I don't know. I mean,
well, this is based on the game, though. This is based on the game, so I can't. Yeah, the game was woke. The game, like, it's not that different from the game. Her reaction was different, and that whole like "I'm gonna be a dad" thing was like made her just not likable. Mm-hmm. What made it really not likable to me is just that they completely ignore the fact that the kid has a biological father who doesn't even know that she's pregnant.
Oh wow!
And they're both talking about how they're both like all of a sudden like almost like a married couple, like even though they didn't even hook up yet at that point. It's very weird. It's just very weird. It's like very like rushed, makes them not likable, and also it's obviously a very like weird woke thing to have in the show that nobody feels like listening to anymore.
Right.
Yeah, nobody wants that. Like, and it's not a normal reaction, which is very weird. And like everybody who played the game is like, yeah, that's not how she reacted in the game, and it's not even normal. It's like a weird fucking thing to say when somebody's like, "Yeah, I'm pregnant. I'm gonna be a dad." It's like, what are you, weird? Like weirdo? What kind of weird reaction is that?
The Dina girl, she'd be like, "Wait, that's kind of strange for you to say."
Yeah, like we're not married. We didn't even hook up yet. Like, what are you talking about? That's like if I went on a date, I went on a Tinder date on a second date, and I'm like, "You're pregnant? I'm gonna be a dad." You're like, "What?" It was very weird. That's actually the weirdest part to me. That and the fact that they ignored the biological father. But yes, it's a very weird line, and people have given up on the show. I've seen like a million TikTok videos of people just being like, "What?" Like, forget the show.
Yeah, I mean, if I were watching, I would stop. I would stop watching. Jeff says the last of they them.
the people are saying the woke of us. I've heard that one.
Woke of us. That's pretty good. Yeah, I have. I don't know. I always like if I hadn't seen the show, I would have been interested before this. But now
play the game, dude. Play the games. Play the games.
I have no time. I'm trying to get through.
Well, I mean, when you have time,
I have to play the Ori second game.
Forget Ori. I mean, those games are fun, but forget that. They're like no platform games.
The first Ori game is incredible.
Yes, it was good. I did like it. I love puzzle games like that. I told you should play Cocoon.
Yeah,
that game's awesome and it's hard. And you have to play Little Nightmares 1 and 2 is the best.
I have 2, I think. And I was like, can I play 2 without 1?
Yeah. There's no real plot. It's very surreal. But I love those games. And if you like Ori Will of the Wisp, I mean, it's not that similar, but it's good.
We have a $5 super chat here from Titan Maximum 2. Thank you so much, Titan. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. He's asking, do you think Alec Ayo Manor could be a number 1 receiver in the NFL? So sorry for 1 second here as I answer this super chat. Unless you want to offer your insight on Alec Ayo Manor, what do you think about him? Do you think he's gonna be a good player?
What? Alec Ayo, what now? Yeah. I'll stick to video games.
Yes. Alec Ayo Manor is a rookie receiver from Stanford. He just got drafted a couple weeks ago to the Titans in the 4th round. I think he's more of a number 2. That's what I saw him as. As for the Titans, and the Titans need a number 2, and they have Calvin Ridley anyway. But I mean, I know you're talking about like long term. I think he's going to be a number 2 possession receiver. He's got nice size. I feel like he could be a good end zone target. Trying to think of like a comparison to him. I'm really bad at coming up with comps for players, but I think Ayo Manor, it can be like a solid possession too. I don't think he has like the game breaking talent to be a receiver 1, but I thought it was a good pick for Tennessee. But yeah, Titan, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Matthias is saying he won't be number 1. I do think that's correct, but I think he could be a number 2 long term, which is, for a 4th rounder, that's pretty good. Okay, so anyways, as far as The Last of Us, I can't imagine like possibly getting into that, and I don't like. It seems bizarre because like you were talking about how it's like winding down this woke nonsense on TV shows and movies, and I thought that might be true. But then we see this, and I don't know if it was like almost a response to Trump being in office,
Nah, I think that dude Neil Druckmann is just kind of a woke, lefty, arrogant Dick, who thought that he thought that when his game came out and people were mad about it, he thought that they don't know what they're talking about and whatever, and he arrogantly stuck to that same plot in the show instead of maybe being creative and making the show significantly different or whatever.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he stuck with it, and now he'll pay the price if they lose viewers.
I imagine they're going to. I mean, even like you said, your sister said she's going to stop watching because they killed off that one character, which I heard the same thing from Game of Thrones when they killed off Ned Stark. Spoiler alert: Ned Stark dies at the end of season 1. I had some friends saying that they're going to stop watching the show because they just wanted to see Ned Stark and whatnot, and then they killed him off, and they're like, how would I watch the show? Why would I watch it anymore? But guess what? They kept watching the show because I mean it's so great, but. I don't know, from what you're saying and from what I watched, I don't know, maybe people think differently, but I felt like the show is just not nearly as good as Game of Thrones, like not even the same strategy.
No.
Right. So like I feel like in Game of Thrones you can get away with that. I mean they had gay scenes and stuff. I don't think they had a pretend gender person, but they didn't have they had a lot of gay scenes, but they got away with it because the show is great. And it was just like, it was easy to ignore. But if you're not a good show, then you can't have this crap because you're going to lose your audience.
I think it's more about the intent of those. Like, if you have a good show, a well-written show, that the gay thing is not like, it's not like gay is inherently woke to have if it makes sense in the show. Right. But if you're forcing it and it feels forced and it takes you out of the show when you're watching it, where you're like, this feels like it's forced in there for that political reason, and then you lose takes you out of the show. It like the suspension of disbelief is broken. Mm-hmm. And when it's a bad show, it makes it even worse. So like if there's a good show and someone tries to force in the message, the woke nonsense, I might overlook it a little bit and be like, depending on how like cringy it is. But if it's a bad show, not The Last of Us is bad. I don't. It's hard for me to say because I played the games. It's like I can't judge the show. It's like really tough for me to get into. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't seem like it's bad overall. So like, I don't know, but I think what'll really make people stop watching it is the Joel getting killed thing. That if that's like, people were into that whole relationship between them. But I don't know. I don't know if people stop watching it this early. It's only like second season. I don't know.
Part of the reason why Game of Thrones endured despite Ned Stark dying is because you had so many other compelling characters. Like you had like Arya Stark, Jon Snow, Tyrion Lannister. Jaime Lannister, people love to hate Cersei Lannister. Joffrey was the villain everyone loved to hate. Like there's so many good characters on that show. Can you say like nearly the same thing about The Last of Us?
That's a very good point. So like that's a very good point. Bella Ramsey cannot carry the show. Mm-hmm. That's also one of the main reasons why people might stop watching is like Pedro Pascal, even though he's annoying in real life too. He's a good actor and he can carry the show. Bella Ramsey cannot carry the show. She's a good actress. She just doesn't have enough like charisma, and she also is miscast, and it's not the right role for her to be in, and she's definitely not capable of carrying the show. So a show about her and Dina and Abby, who's the bad guy, quote unquote, because there's really no good guy in the show, really. That's not going to be enough to carry the show, which is like one of the reasons people also, I mean, that's the problem with it. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know if people are going to stop watching. I don't know how into it people are. Seems like people like it. I don't know.
It seems to be, one of the bigger shows now. But I wouldn't be surprised if all the ratings drop off and they have to cancel it. I mean, kind of, this is a show that is not nearly the same genre, but it sort of reminds me of the DOC. Which I know you love, by the way. I'm just kidding. I
don't remember a minute of it. I think I watched one season and I was like, meh. I don't remember anything about it.
Well, in the OC, they killed off one of the main girl, Marissa. They killed her off at the end of season 3. And season 4 without her was so unwatchable that they just ended it after season 4. It was just terrible. So that's kind of what it reminds me of. And the opposite is Game of Thrones when you have so many other great characters, and you can do that when you have other great characters. But because hold on, Cassandra's saying I'm not going to know anything you all are talking about. How did this TV show go full woke? Sorry about Cassandra. We're going to get more into football on Saturday. Tom's going to be back on. But yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of these shows have gone full woke, unfortunately. Titan asking Omnipheral, have you played 7 Days to Die?
No,
Have you heard of it? I have not heard of it.
no, but I'm always open to a video game suggestion because I'm playing Grand Theft Auto 5 again,
Again?
which I've already. Yeah, it's like a million years old because they keep delaying Grand Theft Auto 6, which
Yeah.
I've been waiting for what is it, like been 12 years? 13, I don't even know, 12 years, 13 years.
Yes.
Yeah, I even bought my PS5 Pro, like being like, all right, I'm going to be able to play Grand Theft Auto 6 with like the best graphics possible at the time, and like now I'm worried that the PS6 is going to come out.
Well, they said
Yeah,
December 2027 is when PS6 is coming out.
yeah, it's not long. I shouldn't have bought the PS5 Pro. I regret it, but whatever.
You told me
It was,
as
it was,
soon as you did it, you're like, I know I wasted my money. But
it was a billion. It was a billion. Yeah,
uh,
it was $1 billion, and the PS6 was going to come out in like 5 minutes, and then GTA 6 isn't going to come out for another 10 years.
Yeah, so PS7 is going to be out when it comes out. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I always like new games to play. So yeah, I'm willing to try that game definitely.
Yeah, well, I'm still stuck. I'm going to be stuck on FF7 Rebirth like the whole summer. I feel like I don't know at my glacial pace that I'm on with this game. But I have done everything. I've done every side quest so far. Like,
well, that's why it's taking. I mean, that game is the longest game I've ever played, but that is one of the reasons it's taking you so long. Definitely.
I'm definitely milking the game for what it's worth because I've been waiting for so long. I love the game. I love all the characters. I love the story. Obviously love the original. We played the original together. You, me, and our friend Frank. We played the game, and that was a great time. But that was in high school back in the late '90s. It's kind of crazy how long it's been. It's almost 30 years since the original. But yeah, no, I know it is, right? So I'm really enjoying. I love FF7, both remake and rebirth. I think they're incredible. I can't really.
They were great.
I can't find anything wrong with them. It's. I really can't. Like I think they're perfect games. Like they have no flaws. They're not as open world as Zelda, but they are a more open world than I do remember the FF7 originally being. So it's really cool. And Titan saying 7 days 7 days to Die is open world survival craft zombies. Okay. Is that for PS5? I assume. Patrick saying Ico Shadow of Colossus, which we played. Elden Ring, written by George R. R. Martin. Rayman Legends and the remaster of Oblivion that just dropped are all good recommendations for me. Sleeping Dogs 2, like GTA. Shadow Colossus was a really cool game for anyone.
I love games that feel like you're like transported into another world where it's like this kind of like, I can't explain it, like eerie. That's what Little Nightmares is like. It's like surreal and kind of like this eerie, not eerie feeling, but you know what I mean, like Shadow Colossus.
Yeah, that was just like a desolate world where you're hunting for these colossi, and like each one you kill like rips apart a piece of your soul, and like by the end the guy is just like the zombie. It is such a cool game, and like you have to figure out how to beat these giant colossi. So like the small dude, you're like a regular sized dude. These things are like 50 feet tall that you have to climb, and it's just you and your horse.
And they don't explain anything. I think that's what I like.
Yeah, they did a little at the end.
At the end.
Yeah, at the end, but like you don't know what's going on. Like all you know is that your wife or girlfriend, I can't remember if you're married to her, but she dies, and you come to this like desolate land, and you hear a voice saying, if you slay the 16 colossi, I will revive your wife. And so you just have to go hunt for these giant monsters who aren't except for the last one. None of them are overly threatening to you until you take them on. Because they're just roam around. They're just like nice creatures that roam around. But then they sense that you're trying to kill them, and then they fight you off and stuff. It's kind of like upsetting too when you have to like kill every one of them. And except for the last one's a dick, but the last one like tries to kill your horse and appears to kill your horse. It was a great game. I love playing that game. Or actually, you played the game. I just watched you the whole time.
Yeah, that game actually was like that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like Little Nightmares is like that, where it's like the surreal world that you're just kind of transported to, and it's like you don't really know what's going on, and they never really explain it. You kind of have to like piece it together, and it's still kind of open for interpretation by the end. Mm-hmm. And there's a bunch of games like that I love, like the game Inside, one of my favorite games ever. Actually, you should play that. There was another one. It's by it's like a Swedish video game company that I think might not even exist anymore. I think they like the guy who ran it like left. I can't remember. They made like 3 games, and the first 2 were really good. And it was like Inside, and then there was another one, and they're like 2 of the best games I ever played. You would love them. You would love it. They're like puzzle games, but you're like, whatever. Just play it. I don't even want to explain it. You would love the games. I'm telling you, you would like it.
Okay.
Same as all the other games I've been talking about.
I trust you in this. Brent says The Last of Us is what you call it when women try to make babies together. Yes.
That's clever. It's good.
That is definitely true. Yeah. So I mean, it feels like I don't want to spend the entire show talking about bad shows. You know, like they're definitely good ones. I don't know how you feel about Severance because I feel like
one of my favorite shows of all time.
Okay, well, I've heard very mixed things about Severance. I've heard people like you say they absolutely love it. I mean, I liked it a lot. I've heard some people, Tim Pool famously said that he gave the show a C- because he said, to quote him, nothing happens. So I don't understand it. Like, he didn't like Lost either, and he's even said it feels like Lost when nothing happens.
Well, so that's actually a phenomenon that's actually a great point. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think that's what pisses people off. So like people don't like the mystery box kind of show, and that's what Lost is, like a mystery box where like everything's like a mystery, and then you get to the next thing, it's another mystery, and like and so I think Lost, and I know you don't agree because you think Lost actually had a good ending, but a lot of people who feel like Lost burned them after years of being super into it because it was like the first show like that, and it was like a phenomenon. And a lot of people feel like they were burned by Lost, like hardcore, kind of like Game of Thrones.
Well, hold on. I didn't think it had a good ending. I thought the ending was fine.
You're more forgiving than a lot of people.
Well, the problem is that a lot of people didn't understand the ending. I can't, like, if I had a quarter for how many times I heard, I can't believe they're all dead, like, I would have a crap ton of quarters. Like, these people don't understand that they weren't all dead the whole time. Like, that's what people think. And I'm like, were you paying attention at all? Like, they were not dead at all the whole time. Only in the flash sideways in season 6. Like, I thought that was a weak thing. Like, and like, I didn't hate the ending. I didn't like the ending though. Like, the issue I had with the ending is that you could have ended that. Like, you could have had that ending for any show in the history of TV. Like, there's a limbo, like there's a side limbo place in the final season, and they end up dead. And this is like the final thing when they all end up dead. Eventually, Hurley probably the last one to die because he became the new Jacob. Like deep into the future where they all go to the afterlife together. Like, you could have, like, Seinfeld could have ended that way. Like you could have ended any show that way. That's the issue I had with it.
Well, here's what I think happens with these kinds of shows. So here's the problem. So when you make a show like Lost, what happens is that kind of show would work well if it was like 2 or 3 seasons at the most. If like you had it all planned out, you knew exactly from front to back how it was going to go, and you didn't go beyond that. Like what your structure, like, what you had in mind before that, whoever like the creator was, should have had it all planned out. What happens with these shows is once it starts making money, the studios will never, the companies will never let it end at that point. And they're going to be like, you have to keep making more seasons. So it keeps having more and more mysteries that don't pay off because you have to keep making the show go to make the money, and they'll never let it end. And then it gets dragged on too long. So I think that's what happened with Lost. And I think that a lot of people felt like it didn't resolve a lot of the mysteries and that it was just kind of forced and they had no idea where they were going, which I think is true. And I think because people who were so bummed out by that show, any show that feels like that, where it's like a mystery box, or it's like you don't know what's going on in the company in Severance, and like what's the deal, and what are they immediately associated with Lost and are like, fuck that. Like, my friend Alex refused to watch Severance for that reason. Like when I told him about it, for that reason, and I had to force him. Like, it took me a lot of like. I feel like I was the first person ever to watch Severance. I watched like the first episode, right, the first day. Nobody knew about, like, Apple doesn't advertise their shows at all, and nobody even knew what Severance was. And I watched the whole season. And I was so scared it was going to get canceled because nobody was talking about it. Mm-hmm. I was like I was trying to make like whatever little effort I could to like tell everybody I knew. I was like, please watch it. And luckily it became like a phenomenon after a while. But I think the problem is that like people feel so burned by Lost. They hate shows like this. They assume that it's going to get, and I hope this isn't the case because it could happen with the show, is that it's going to get dragged out for longer than it should be, like beyond whenever the creator had in mind. and they're going to make like 8 seasons of it with like more and more mysteries that don't pay off because they never had it and they never had it planned out. Like there's no outline. They're just making it up every season as they go with like new writers and you know what I mean? And that's not what you should do for these kinds of shows.
Well, for Lost, to be fair, I think that they had a plan of sorts, but they had to
I
change.
don't.
They definitely did because after season 3, they learned that they had 6 seasons. So after season 3, I think that's when they definitely planned everything out.
That's a mistake. You got to plan it from the beginning. These shows are not meant. They should be like limited series. These shows are not meant to be like 8 seasons or 6 seasons. It's like ridiculous, and you can't plan it halfway through.
They had a pivot a couple of times. First of all, the Ana Lucia character from season 2, she got arrested, and so she had to leave the show. So like they had to kill her off. And then you had Mr. Echo, who was one of the coolest characters, right? He left the show, like he wanted to leave the show, and they had big plans for him. Apparently, I would love to know what they were. I think he was supposed to be what Locke was at the end of the show, but they had to pivot again because he left the show, and I think originally they wanted to kill Jack off after like the first episode or second episode.
Jack off.
Jack off, yeah, exactly. They wanted to kill Jack after the first and second episode, but they fell in love with Matthew Fox so much that they just wanted to keep him around. So like I think that if you watch the show, I think they did answer most of it because I've rewatched it like 3 or 4 times. Like there are very few things that they didn't answer. One of the things was Walt, and that's another thing they had to pivot from because Walt had this like huge growth spurt, and like they just couldn't keep him on the show. Like they had to to keep him on, they had to like jump into the future and stuff. So that really messed them up too. But I feel like for the most part, like they stuck to what they had planned. I think because like just watching the show, it just felt like they didn't really pivot to anything. Like there's at least like no evidence that they did. But like I said, after season 3, they knew they had 6 seasons, and so I think that they kind of knew where they were going after that. So I again, like I don't know why people got burned by it. Like as I said,
I know you feel that way.
Only the Walt stuff I felt burned by just rewatching it. I'm like,
I don't even remember. Honestly, it's like so long ago. I barely remember even what happened in it. I remember I liked John Locke, and that was like that's all I remember.
Yeah, you should rewatch it. It's been long enough. It's been 20 years.
No. I mean, regardless.
You're
like I think
you're replaying GTA 5.
You're right. Well, actually, you're right. I should stop replaying GTA. It is a waste of time. I mean, I replayed it before, like years ago. I got to stop replaying it. Regardless, I think that's just the sentiment. I think people felt burned, regardless of whether or not they should have. And I think they don't want to see that, like, people don't like these mystery box shows because of that. And they don't want to see the same thing happen where there's no payoff. Like, it just keeps going and going with a mystery every 5 seconds that you don't know what the deal is. And they keep trying to, string you along into an end where there's no payoff. And I really hope that doesn't happen. The reason I think it might not happen is because I don't know if Apple really cares because they have so much money from that's one of the benefits of like Apple and Amazon having their own streaming services. Mm-hmm. Is I don't know how much they really give a shit about how successful they want it to be successful, but it's not like Netflix where like that's their whole income is like the success of their shows. And I don't know how much they really care. And so I hope that they stick to what, like, just keep it limited to how much the story until the story is going to not be good anymore and actually have a good outline for it and don't overdo it. I think that'll ruin the show. And I think that's what a lot of people who weren't happy with Lost, that's they're afraid of. And I think it's fair. I get it.
Well, what mysteries do we have? Try to be light on spoilers because that just came out, but because they did answer what the company does, like all the
They did. No, they did. Yeah. I'm not saying they're not going to. I'm not saying they haven't answered stuff or they're not going to. I'm just saying I hope that it doesn't. I hope they just don't keep renewing it for seasons beyond its lifespan. Really.
Yeah. My guesses, by the way, for what they were doing. Well, I had 3 guesses. I actually got it right the 3rd time. But my first 2 guesses, the first one I thought was they were writing code to like kill people. Like it was like a virus or something. They're like designing a virus and like it was like DNA sequences. And I'm like, it's too dark. I don't think they do that. And then the second, especially on the heels of COVID, the second was that they were not doing anything. It was sort of the experiment that they had in Lost. Remember there were a few hatches. Like the first, you find out the first hatch in like the first season, where you see Desmond on the ground and he's punching into code every 108 minutes. And then they find another hatch in season 2 where they have 2 chairs there and they have a monitor of the first hatch, and this hatch is sending reports out. And you find out that the people watching Desmond were the experiment, not Desmond, because all the reports are being sent to this field, and it was just basically trash. So they were the experiment. So that's what I thought it was, because it's kind of like Lost. I thought that they were experimenting on these people, just having them code nothing and seeing how they would react. But then I was like, they're spending all this money on it. That doesn't seem plausible either. But then I guess they're right the third time. I don't want to spoil it for those who are still watching, but I thought that was a cool way to do it. The only thing I didn't like about season 2 was that one episode with the old woman. I kind of dozed off a couple of times watching that one.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't a great episode. It didn't bother me. It was fine. There's always going to be bad episodes in any show. Not bad episodes, but there's always going to be episodes that are kind of laggy in every show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's they always save. Usually it's episode 7's exciting and episode 4, and then there's always an episode that's the kind of the hump where it's a lame. Even in Last of Us, the last episode was kind of lame.
You mean the most previous episode or the most recent episode?
Was it the last? There was one episode that was kind of boring. Was it the last episode? I don't remember. Whatever. My point is that every show has that. So It didn't bother me. I still love the show. It's one of my favorite shows ever. I mean, I love it.
It's in your top 5. Would you say?
I think so.
Off the top of your head, do you know what else would be in your top 5? Just to give people
Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Star Trek, TNG, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Picard season 1 or season 2.
Yeah, Picard season 3 was the good one, right?
That was really good. That was really good. Yeah.
That was awesome. Season 1 and 2 were obviously the wokest shit of all time.
Wait, but hold on. Riker is he runs a pizzeria, but
don't even. It's classic destroying the characters that people love on purpose.
Yeah,
that's the biggest leftist thing. Is just destroying characters and trying to ruin things for the fans on purpose. So weird to hire writers it's so weird to hire writers for a show like an IP that it already has a fan base, and then hire people that hate the fans and hate the show. And just want to destroy the show to say F you to the fans. It's the weirdest thing. I think that's dying down.
Almost like they'd want to destroy the country if they could,
almost. Right? It's very weird. I think that's dying down. The only company left that might still do it for a while is Disney.
Yeah.
But I think that most other companies are kind of being all right, let's cut it out a little bit. Definitely movies. I've noticed that there's a lot of new movies coming out that are not overly diverse for no reason, where it's distractingly diverse.
Right.
And there's also the company A24 that makes indie films is starting to become more mainstream because they're literally the only movie company that's making original films now that have original plots, and that's kind of exciting.
On the other hand, we have Severus Snape, who's black. So
I don't know what that's the weirdest. After all the lessons that years of lessons that companies have learned.
Yeah.
Why would they do that? It's one of the craziest things. It's almost like it has to be purposeful. There can't be people that work for the company that want to make money and are that's a good idea to cast a black guy as Severus Snape, as one of the most known characters in the show. And beloved or whatever. Hey, I mean, he was a good guy in the end. So beloved. It's so insane to do that. They lost half their audience at least by doing that. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. Out of all decisions that any show's ever made, it's for them to do that after all this time is the craziest thing I've ever seen in TV.
Well, yeah, the 3 main characters backstabbed J.K. Rowling, so there's
they all do that. Yeah, they all do that. Yeah, because she stands up for women's rights. Yeah, they all. Right. Yeah, I know. What a horrible person.
It's the craziest thing. In the 90s, if you heard leftists would go against someone standing up for women's rights, you'd be like, what? What's happening?
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing ever, dude. The whole thing is so weird. The fact that anybody even still exists that believes that that's normal, they hate her because she thinks men shouldn't play women's sports, and what did that even what? What am I Bizarro World? But yeah,
Strange.
she actually came out and said that she didn't have any say in the casting. She doesn't have any authority over the casting. But yeah,
Yeah.
to make him black changes the whole plot. It changes the whole dynamic of everything. Like people were pointing out that like now when Harry's dad picks on him in school, it'll be like, oh, the white guy's picking on the black kid.
Well, they're gonna
It
hang
like
him from
just
a tree.
yeah, they're gonna hang him from a tree. It just changes the whole dynamic of everything. It just doesn't. I don't. I
Yeah.
don't. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life to make that decision. I also don't really like John Lithgow as Dumbledore, but whatever.
Yeah, and not losing the original Dumbledore, or I guess the two original Dumbledores is pretty rough. But I mean, obviously, it's an older gentleman's position. You know, it's gonna happen. Cassandra says, I looked up that show. That's a real scene. Why does everything always need to be effing retarded all the time?
What show? What show is she talking about? Last of Us?
Yeah, Last of Us. Yeah.
Oh, what, I'm going to be a dad?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, well, the only thing I can say, and this isn't an excuse for them, but like, this is what I keep hoping. Like, these shows were made during like the wokest time period. Like, I guess they were being made while things like, well, woke was still like a major thing.
Yeah.
I guess pre-Trump.
I think they probably thought Kamala was going to win.
Yeah, probably. And I think that it was made during that time period, and so there's still going to be a lot of garbage that comes out that was made like when they really thought that woke was like a good thing. And I'm hoping that like dies down completely once all the garbage, like once they're able to release all the garbage woke nonsense that was like made years ago. You know what I mean? Because it's not like the show was just made; it was made like over the last couple of years. So that's my hope, is that it dies down. I don't know. It seems like it is.
I hope so. It'd be nice to see all this stuff go away, but this is a religion to these people. And you said, like, why would these studios hire people to destroy IPs and, you know, not get the most viewers possible? Think about it this way, you know, like, people on the right, they have their religion, obviously. I mean, a lot of them are, Christians or whatnot, but yeah, obviously have other religions, but like they will donate money to the church or whatnot. But like the leftists, their religion is politics and like leftism and communism, and like they will spend money to make sure their message is heard. Even if it costs like even if it costs them like lots of profits or whatnot, like they're willing to do it, and that's why they do it. Like that's the reason, like they're so willing to lose money. So
I definitely think, yeah, it's definitely like a religion. It's like a cult, and then also I think that in Hollywood a lot of people are narcissistic and insecure. And I think that they just want to be self-righteous so that they can fit in with the rest of their bubble. Yeah, I don't even think a lot of them believe it. Like I don't. It's actually funny. There's a show on Apple called The Studio with Seth Rogen, and Seth Rogen's a bit of a leftist, but whatever. There was one episode that just came. He is, but I mean, they're all kind of. But there's one episode that just came out that actually kind of makes fun of that point, where like he's supposed to be the head of this movie studio, and they're casting for this movie, and the whole episode's about how like they're so scared about not casting like enough black people in the show that like it ends up making the whole show black. But it's like making fun of the whole concept. Like it's kind of showing you the thought process and like the complete paranoia that like I do think that's part of it. I think these studios have like this paranoia because I think that the vocal minority online dictates a lot of what these studios think is like what people believe.
Yeah.
And they get so scared about like negative feedback online from like these people that probably don't even believe it. It's just like the vocal minority online, that they get so scared and they start making these bad casting decisions. However, that said, the Harry Potter show, there's no excuse for that. That's just insane.
Yeah.
That I don't understand.
Yeah, it makes me not want to watch it.
I might not watch it. Yeah, I don't want to watch it. Like and I'm not, it's not even like racist. I don't want to see. It's not it's like not my Snape. That's like, what people say, not my Snape. Like it's not how I imagine him. I don't want to see that. Like I wouldn't want to see it if they cast any race like that's not how you imagine. This is weird. Like why would you do that? South Park showed that perfectly, where they're like that episode about Disney where they made fun of Disney, and then they showed like all the South Park characters as like black women, and then like like Cartman's like a black woman, and that's like the whole point. It's weird. It's like why would you do that? You're ruining characters that people love.
Yeah, it's anyway. Awful. Yeah, it's really bad. Wait, with some comments. Patrick says Severance to me is like Twin Peaks. If you don't have patience, you won't like it. But people who don't mind slower paced shows will love theorizing and talking and digging in the little details. Did you ever watch Twin Peaks? I feel like no.
No, you told me to. You told me to.
All right, so instead of playing GTA, watch Twin Peaks. One of my favorite shows. You're talking about best shows of all time. This is top 5 for me. It is an incredible show, especially season 3. I mean, the premise is this. I don't know if you would even know the premise
Yeah,
is.
you told me about it.
Yeah, I mean, this girl washes ashore. She is just like the prom queen basically, and she's dead. And there are other deaths in the Pacific Northwest, and an FBI agent comes in, Dale Cooper, played by Kyle Mac. Kyle Mac something, I forget his name. Anyway, he comes in, and so like a lot of bizarre things start happening in town, and it is an incredible show, especially season 3. It is Con McClanahan. I would definitely recommend that. I think you should definitely watch it. But it is pretty similar. It's pretty slow paced, but like so many crazy weird things happen in the show. You almost like have to like keep watching it and like just for the payoff. Because like if you just watch the first episode, you're like, what is this? But if you keep watching it, like there's definitely payoffs to it. And there's like some weird scenes, like you almost expect like weird things to happen. Like in season 3, there's just a scene. It's like a 1-minute scene of a guy sweeping a bar. That's all he's doing is sweeping the floor. And you're like looking for stuff. You're like, is something gonna happen here? Like, am I missing something? And like nothing happens. But then there's a scene where this woman, this FBI agent, is walking down the hallway, and she goes toward the hotel door. She's in the hotel. She goes to a door, and like the doorknob disappears. And I'm like, and she like, there's no reaction to it. She just opens the door, and I'm like, is this like, are they messing with us here? Like, why does the doorknob disappear? And like, you kind of have to like, there's these small things in the show that like they do intentionally just to like mess with your head. It's so good.
I'll watch it. I mean,
yeah,
the thing with Severance, you know what I love about Severance? It's like it's the first like water cooler, kind of like Lost. Like,
yeah,
it's the first show where like you actually would call somebody after the show to talk about it, or like discuss it with people at work.
yeah.
Or you know what I mean? And I miss shows like that. Like it used to be like that, and it's like the first show in a long time where I felt like that. Where like after the show, like I would call someone in my family and be like, "Hey, did you just watch the last episode of Severance? Like, what'd you think?" And what?
Yeah. Did that come out?
Like
did that come out the whole season at one time, or did it come out?
No, weekly, which is smart. I mean, I do love binging shows, but like it is smart to have weekly, especially if you're going to do streaming. Like I don't know why they wouldn't do that always.
Yeah.
Because like you want people to keep their subscription. You don't want people to just watch a show and cancel.
Exactly. Like that. I guess that's part of what it makes it water cooler. Because like you said, you can talk about, hey, did you see the most recent episode? But if you dump all the episodes, suddenly you're like, hey, did you watch the whole season? And then you don't talk about it afterwards. So
you don't talk about it, and then it's like, and then when it's over, you're like sad. You're like, oh man, right. I like watched that whole show in a day. I mean, it's kind of bittersweet. It's like I do love, like I'm excited for like Stranger Things the next season when it comes out. I'll watch the whole thing, and I do love that I'm able to do that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I do hate waiting a week for shows, but then it's kind of like you do look forward to it. Like I do look forward to my shows every week, like the Nathan Fielder show, which I love. The Rehearsal. I don't know if you heard about that show.
No, I haven't. Tell me about it.
I couldn't even possibly explain it to you. I've been a fan of Nathan Fielder. He's like this Canadian comedian who's like basically our age.
Yeah.
I've been a fan of his for years. He had a show called Nathan for You, which is like one of my favorite comedy shows of all time. I can't explain it. It's like not like Borat, but it's like a fake. It's like a documentary, but he does like these like comedy premises that just spiral out of control. Mm-hmm. In like the most surreal, weird ways, and like hilarious ways. Nathan For You was like hilarious. The Rehearsal is his new show, and it's similar, where like he has like a premise at the beginning of the show, something he wants to explore, and then he does these like wacky documentary things I can't explain it. You should watch it, and let me know what you think. You either love him or you hate him. I think his comedy is like pure genius. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you should watch. It's called The Rehearsal. Watch Nathan For You. Watch Nathan For You first.
What platform is it on?
Nathan For You is on Paramount Plus, and Nathan For You is a little bit more simple. It's like he says he's like a business guru and helps these businesses with their problems, and he comes up with ideas to help them, and they're real businesses. And then he finds like people on Craigslist and shit all the time, and they're always the weirdest people. But he tried to help like this yogurt store improve their business. And so he's like, what if we make like a shit flavored yogurt? and he actually hires like a company that makes like scents and like different flavors, and they actually make a shit flavor, and then he does like a taste testing, with a focus group, and like it's the great, but then it spirals out of control. Like he does one where he helps a gas station to get more business. No, actually, here's a good one. He does one where it's an electronics store that's getting beat by Best Buy that's right nearby, this like small electronics store. So he has them sell TVs for like $1, but in order for customers to get the TVs, they have to crawl through like a tunnel full of alligators. And it's the funniest thing ever, dude. And it gets every time he makes an episode, like he comes up with this premise that's hilarious, and then it just gets more and more crazy as it goes. And it's the same thing with the rehearsal, and it's really funny.
Okay, I'll check it out. By the way, Paramount Plus might be like the worst streaming platform ever. Just from
Agreed.
not necessarily from like what they have on there, but like it's so glitchy. Like
It's bad. It's not good. No.
I've been, look, I don't, like, I just say thank you for letting me use yours. So, I've been watching. Oh yeah, I've been watching Ghosts on there, the sitcom that they have on CBS, by the way, which is I think incredible. It's just an incredible show. Ghosts. Have you ever seen it?
Never heard of it.
Okay, it's this basically it's a half-hour show. They have on CBS. This woman and her husband inherit. Well, the woman inherits this giant mansion in upstate New York. It's hundreds of years old. And she and her husband go there, and you find out there are like ghosts haunting the mansion. But it's a comedy. Like the ghosts are all like funny, and they're all from like different eras. Like one's an Indian who's like 500 years old. There's a Viking who like crashed there 1,000 years ago, and because they died there, they're stuck on the property. They can't leave, so they're just haunting the property. So this woman and her husband go, and they're renovating the place, and she trips and falls, and she falls down the stairs, and she's dead for a few minutes, and she's in a coma, but then she's revived. And because she was dead for a few minutes, she actually sees the ghosts and can interact with them. And it's just so funny. There's unfortunately there's like half of season 2 started to go woke, but they stopped it, and then like it just completely disappeared. Okay, yeah. So Patrick's saying this ghost get any better? I watched 2 seasons and don't know. I laughed but once or twice, but it's a fine background show. Feels in line with other CBS comedies. Yeah, I think Ghost season 4 was so good. This show has gotten better and better. I love it. It's almost like I want to say like Lost, because they have like flashbacks for the ghosts, and like every episode, and you find out like what happened to them and like how they died and like their motivations behind it. Like there's this like American revolutionary ghost who, like, in the first episode, I rewatched the first episode after I caught up all the way, and like in the first episode he talks about how he hates Alexander Hamilton. And then like in season 4, you find out like why he and Alexander Hamilton like just hated each other, and it's really funny. And so like it was really cool how it held up, because a lot of this stuff they mentioned in episode 1, they just like they went back to in season 4, and they addressed like all of it. And it seems like they almost had it like planned out, like the character arcs for each ghost. I think it's funny, and it's and the character development's really good, I think. Outside of like the first half of season 2 when they went woke, but they stopped it, so I would recommend it. But anyway, my point about this was so I watch Ghosts sometimes, and like the sound cuts off, and so I have to like rewind it to get the sound back on, and like it just Paramount Plus just crashes randomly like all the time. It's so annoying.
I don't think it's going to land. I think they're going to get rid of Paramount Plus. I don't know if it's going to do well enough to stay in business.
Yeah, it's unfortunately it's just so glitchy. It's awful. I know Paramount, the stock just sold off something, and I think that you have to accept the money or whatever. I have one share of Paramount from like back in the day. Matthias says, I've never seen Ghost, but from the advertising it looks awful. I love the show, except for the first half of season 2. I think it's great. So I would recommend it. I like it. It's only a half hour per episode, so. And I think the characters like really get flushed out as you get on. Like season 3 and season 4, I think are great. It gets better as it keeps going. So I recommend that. But we had another question from Patrick. Where is it? He says, don't know if you finished, but thoughts on Squid Game season 2. I hated the ending so bad, but thought season overall was pretty good. Did you watch season 2 of Squid Game?
I did.
What did you think about it?
I really liked it. I mean, it definitely wasn't as impactful as the first season. Like it's not as memorable, but I still thought it was good. I don't remember that much about it. I remember I enjoyed it, but like there's nothing specific. I mean, I like that one character, like the weird rapper, like kind of bad guy. He's good with Thanos or whatever his name is.
He's fun. Yeah, he's funny.
He's like, my name is Thanos or whatever. Yeah, he's good. Obviously, you know, the trans chick dude is whatever. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. It's just obviously it's not as novel as the first season. You know, the whole idea behind it. Like the first season was, oh yeah, Squid Game. The first season was one of the best shows I've ever watched. Definitely.
And yet, Alice in Borderland was better, better version of it.
Oh right, yeah, you have told me to watch that. I know, I suck. Whenever people recommend stuff to me, it's like the worst thing you can do. It makes me not watch something.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
He said Matthias says the rapper Thanos is awful, too over the top. I don't know. I thought it was funny.
I like it because it's like South Korean kind of. Like I feel like Asian shows and movies are always over the top like that, and that's like the style. Like I kind of like that sometimes, like knowing that that's like not the culture, but it's just like that. Like one of my favorite movies is RRR. It's like an Indian movie, an Indian film. It's awesome. You should watch it. It's really good, and it's just so cartoony and so over the top, but it's like really fun and like an awesome plot. I don't know. I like that when it's a foreign film. If it was like an American show or something, it would be weird. But I feel like that's just the style sometimes. Same thing with like, you know, anime. You know what I mean? It's always like kind of weird and over the top. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
Like there's not much subtlety. Like they always like say what they're feeling.
Yeah.
And they're like, I like you. And I sometimes I like that. Like I think it's kind of funny and I like it's almost like you're like a different reality almost. And I don't mind it if it's like part of like, you know, the style. Anyway.
Yeah, Patrick says I thought Thanos was great. He was a good comic relief and yet also heartless during some of the games. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I don't want to, you know, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it in 3, 2, 1. But yeah, in the final episode, season 2, you know, they kill him off. Actually, I actually told my wife, I'm like, I don't know, did they actually kill him off? Because I feel like he's going to be one of those guys in the coffins that they tried to harvest the organs and he's going to be alive or something. But then my wife was like, what's the point of that? I'm like, yeah, that's probably true. Like, I don't know, like why keep that character alive, like for that reason. I don't know. But it's just, I don't know. For me, it just seemed like why not keep him around and like have him die like in the games, kind of like remember the mobster from season 1 when you know he died in the mirror jumping game or the glass jumping game, whatever it was, in the second to last game. So I don't know. To have him die like that in the bathroom, I thought was kind of stupid. So I thought that I like season 2 outside of, you know, the pretend woman guy who I don't know why they had him.
Whatever. Yeah, it felt thrown in. That's an example of like it.
But you know, the funny thing was like he was super tough, like you know, and like he knew like what was like what he was doing, like at the end when they staged that whole coup against the guards, and of course the guy who was in the Marines got scared off, like I don't know, like PTSD or something. He couldn't even pick up the ammo. He just sat in the corner because he couldn't pick up the ammo. Like that was ridiculous. So if they could, you imagine if they reversed it and had the pretend woman be scared like that? I feel like they would never hear the end of it. You know,
they would never hear the end of it from the minority online. That's the funny part. That's the funny part. Like nobody would care except for like the vocal minority online.
Yeah, exactly. So, I except for that, I did like it. Although, like when they staged that coup at the end, I was like, this is not very well thought out. Like even as it was happening, I'm like, when they got the guns from the guards, I was like, but there's. And I said, my wife, as we're watching this, I'm like, there are like hundreds of other guards. Like, what is the plan here? Like,
yeah, that was weird.
That was silly,
and
you know,
and the scenes with his brother where he was like trying to find the islands kind of killed the pacing a little bit in some episodes.
It did, yeah.
But I still liked it. It just wasn't as good as the first season.
No, definitely not. And that's what I'll say is like with Alice in Borderland season 2, I thought was probably just as good as season 1. Like the games were so cool in season 2, and yet like we only saw 3 games in season 2 of Squid Game, which and you know one was a rehash to the original, so we only saw 2 new games. Whereas like in season 2 of Alice in Borderland, they had these brand new games, which is so cool. The one I think I mentioned to you before is called Solitary Confinement. I thought was the coolest game, where you have a symbol, you have like one of the 4 card symbols, on your head or something. You're like wearing a hat or something. I can't remember what exactly what it was, but you can't see it, and so you have to you have like an hour of conversing with people, and you have to get people to tell you what your symbol is. You can't use a mirror or anything. They say you can't use a mirror or you'll die. So you have to get people to tell you what your symbol is, and then after an hour, you go into a room by yourself and you say the symbol. And if you say it right, you keep alive. And if you say it wrong, you die, like you get shot. So and so there's like all this stuff. It's like as you might imagine, like after the first game, after the first night, or like the first hour, no one dies. But then like all this stuff happens, because what they say is like to get out of there, you have to kill the Jack of Hearts, or I think it was the Jack of Hearts, because he was like trying to plot against everyone in there. And so people are like, are you the Jack of Hearts and stuff? So like people start lying. And so that was like one of the coolest games. Whereas like in Squid Game, they didn't really have that. They had that like the 5 games in one or 6 games in one. And then they had the one where they spun around and went into different rooms and stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. But like overall, it wasn't great. Patrick saying I thought that plan was so dumb and so out of character for the main character that it really tarnished the season. It was that bad. It was a neck bracelet, basically. It was on the back of the neck. Yeah, okay. Yeah, amazing scene. Love Alice. Yeah. See, even Patrick's telling you to watch Alice in Borderland. Conflicted season 3 sounds like it will be coming out, but season 2 ended so perfectly for Alice. Yeah, that's the thing. Like usually these shows have disappointing endings. I thought season 2 ending of Alice in Borderland was like beautiful. It was so good. The main bad guy, the Queen of Hearts, like she was perfect. She like taunted the audience like watching the show. I was like, I've never seen anything like it. And then the way they ended it, it made so much sense. And I was like, this is such a perfect ending for a show. And then they announced season 3. I'm like, oh man, they're gonna ruin it, unfortunately. But no, I thought the first 2 seasons were amazing. I think it
sounds like Alice in Boring Land.
Yeah, that is not what it is. I couldn't recommend that more than any other show to you, except for Twin Peaks. Those 2 you should watch instead of playing GTA 5 again.
I was just gonna say, now I'll just play GTA 5 again.
That's what you can do.
It really is. It really is. That as I'm playing it, it does feel like the biggest waste of my life ever to replay a game. It really does. It's like, what am I doing?
It you know what? Even when like I bought like the retro NES, those retro NES and SNES things, like those small consoles that come with 30 games or something.
Yeah.
Like my wife got those for me for like Christmas one year, and then like my birthday in the next year or whatever. So I have both of them. I like barely play them. I sometimes play like the original Mario Kart because it's like memories. But like when I do play them, I'm like, this is stupid. I should just play new games that I haven't played yet.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about that. So yeah. So a couple of more comments before we head out. Matthias says refuse to watch Severance because of Adam Scott. Which I don't know. He was in. How can you hate Adam Scott? He was in Boy Meets World, which
he was in Step Brothers. What's your beef with Adam Scott?
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was Griff from Boy Meets World, which I rewatched recently because I was watching the Pod Meets World podcast, which is pretty good. Unfortunately, I don't have Disney Plus anymore, so I can't watch it anymore. It took less time to pick the new Pope than it did Shador 2 days versus 3. That's funny. Yeah, I'm sure you have no idea what we're talking about. Actually, did you hear about the whole Shador Sanders scandal in the NFL? Because like my wife did. She's not into football at all. Like that became mainstream news.
Oh, is that Deion Sanders' kid?
Yes. Yeah, so that's funny. So you've even heard of it? Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, he was. A lot of people thought he'd go first round. He fell to the 5th round. Probably one of the most shocking drops that we've ever seen. Although I was saying it for months. Like I talked to a scout, and he looked at my mock draft and he said, "Get Shador out of the first round." And so I've been beating that drum every month, like all the time for the past months. I didn't think he'd fall to the 5th round though. Like even the scout was like, I didn't think he'd fall out of day 2. But anyway,
isn't he a dick or something?
That's what some people say. But like the scout told me that they didn't get any bad vibes from him. So
I don't know.
Yeah, it is. It's weird. Matthias says Peacock is worse.
Yes. I was actually going to mention that. I was going to say like Paramount Plus and Peacock. I don't see a future for them.
Peacock's pretty bad. I agree. The Saved by the Bell remake. Did you ever watch that?
No.
the
What?
reboot. It was Saved by the Bell. They had the original characters came back outside of obviously Screech. Unfortunately, he couldn't.
Nah, I never liked those. I never watched those shows. We watch like Full House, the remake.
Oh, Fuller House is great. Yeah, Fuller House.
Oh yeah, there was a Fuller House. Ugh, I totally forgot. Yeah, I never watched that stuff.
See, I didn't even like Full House that much. Fuller House is a really good show.
What?
It was. Believe me, it's really good.
Gay.
Not there's anything wrong with that. It was a good show. Saved by the Bell remake though was so bad. Like they had a couple episodes that were good where they had just had the original cast come back again outside of Screech. And those episodes were really good. But like when they focused on the new kids, like it was awful. And to give you an example of how bad it was, just real quick. So basically the premise is, which is kind of realistic. So California runs out of funding, and so they can't fund the public schools anymore. So they ship the public school kids to like wherever, or Bayside High School, which is is full of rich kids. So these three kids, three minority kids from the city school, they get shipped to Bayside. And so like one is this like pretty big black dude, and another is this black girl. And so AC Slater, who's the coach of the football team, he notices the black guy. He's like, wow, you're going to be good at football. And so he goes up to him. He's like, do you want to try out for the football team? The guy's like, no, I don't like playing football. And so the black girl, she's like, oh, I like playing football. And AC Slater's like, come on. And so she actually tries out for the football team. She becomes the starting quarterback. Whereas the black guy wants to do he wants to do music or something. So their starting quarterback is a black girl.
All right.
So, yeah.
That sounds about right.
An idea of how bad it was. I don't know. I watched the whole thing just to make fun of it and Jerks of the Week. But it was so bad. It was really bad. Let's see, and then last comment, Patrick says Timberwolves future pick looking good. Wore Anthony Edwards shoes to work last week to troll LeBron fan after round one. Nice. Yeah, we have a 60-1 on the Timberwolves, and I took out a hedge on the Thunder, because I think it's gonna be Thunder Timberwolves. I think in the West Coast Finals, and I think they're the two best teams in the NBA. So it's I think the NBA champion is gonna be one of those two teams. And Patrick always says, I don't know, sounds like Saved by the Bell makes a compelling case to end Department of Education, so I'm here for it. If that's what it takes, then they've done a good job. So I think that's a good way to end the show. Thanks Patrick and everyone for watching the show. Please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description of the merch store. Omnipheral, do you have anything else to add before we head out?
Nah, good.
Yeah, I would reinforce, do not keep replaying GTA 5. Instead, watch either Alice in Borderland or Twin Peaks.
No.
No.
No. GTA 5.
until GTA 6 is out.
I'll replay another game.
You'll play GTA 4.
I don't remember GTA 4.
Yeah, I don't. I played it like once or something. GTA 2 was what I played the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. Oh, real quick, by the way, I heard GTA 6 is gonna have pride parades, which I and like people were like, people posted like these like funny faces when they saw that, because obviously people were gonna try to do to those. The wrath parades are going to take over the pride parades.
I am worried about GTA 6. I am concerned that they, obviously it was made over 10 years, more than that. Yeah. And so they're going to stick a lot of woke stuff. They already talked about a lot of stuff they're doing in the game. That's like, they're going to dial down the violence and the racist jokes if they start doing that, I'll be really upset. People are going to be really mad. They're going to be like riots.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, if they ruin GTA 6.
Well, as long as they disrupt the pride parades and the riots, I'm all for it. So, all right, all right, guys, that's it for today's show. We'll be back Saturday with Tom. We're going to be discussing, offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, like any bets that we can do. we can make from what happened the past couple of weeks to do that. And then next week we're gonna have the schedule. The schedule gets released on Wednesday, I believe. So Tuesday show, we're gonna have a PGA Championship preview. That's the second major in golf. Then we're gonna have Wednesday, Kenny will be on, and then Thursday we're gonna really get into the schedule and try to maybe do an early handicap of week one, which should be really fun. So looking forward to that. And once again, guys, thank you so much for watching and commenting. Really appreciate it. Omnipheral, thanks for coming on. I love doing the show with you. During the off season, it's so fun to talk video games and TV shows and politics, whatever. It's a lot of fun.
Definitely. Yeah.
Looking forward to next time. So, all right, guys, hope you have a great start to your weekend, and I will talk to you Saturday.